Ahouyearno, is capitalism on the decline? How are we going to stop or reverse this massive redistribution of wealth from the poor to the rich? Don't get me wrong, I'm a capitalist, and I'm as afraid of communism as I'm afraid of fascism, but the way our society currently works is not honest. Capitalism requires egalitarianism, equality of opportunity, and a functional American dream, not a society where only billionaires, preferably white and male, can become president of the USA. Capitalism would work if we had a truly equal playing field. If it was a race that everybody started at the starting line at the same time, and everybody had the same distance to run, and everybody had the same obstacles to overcome, then it would be a fair system. Then people could actually say with a straight face, truthfully, that this is the land of opportunity.
Hello, ladies, Emmys, and gents. Now, I actually disagree with Steve here. I think if we had a truly equal playing field, capitalism would not work. And that would be a good thing. Capitalism thrives on inequality, essentially a privileged minority controlling the bulk of resources. Now, if we were to redistribute resources fairly, what need would we have of capitalism? Why would we agree to sell our labour to some private company or other in exchange for an amount of resources not equal to the value of the labour, where we don't need to, given as we already have our fair share of resources? Seeing as Steve, and presumably ahouyearno, is a feminist, a good model for this argument would be to replace the word capitalism with the word patriarchy. If someone were to say patriarchy would work if we had a truly equal playing field, then we'd probably find that a bit odd. After all, patriarchy is one of the things that makes the playing field unequal. Okay, making the playing field equal necessitates patriarchy not working.
Because the way it works now, some people start at the starting line, and some people start 10 feet from the finish line. And the people who start 10 feet from the finish line cross the finish line with no problem, and then they turn around and they blame the people who started at the starting line for not having finished the race yet. And they say, well, that's the problem. They're holding us all back. This race would be over. We would have won this race by now. What's their problem? And just think about how twisted that is. And think about the fact that so many of us accept that version of the narrative. Anytime people are sold a view of that erases the privilege and the disadvantage and just treats everything as though everybody was on a level playing field from the start, makes it very, very, very difficult to make any kind of changes. How do you address systemic racism when most people in the country, especially the people who are the most privileged, don't see it as a problem? Either deny that it exists or just wave it off. How do you address income inequality when most people don't view it as a problem? They view poor people as responsible for their problems. They view poor people as responsible for their own poverty, even if they were born poor. They say, well, if you were smarter, if you were a harder worker, if there wasn't something wrong with you, then you would have achieved. You would have worked your way out of it. You would have earned your way out of it. We have upward mobility in this society. We tell ourselves these lies, and we believe them for our entire lives. And it's incredibly difficult to get out of it.
I basically agree with everything else Steve has said there, but it goes back to my original point. Making society fairer wouldn't improve capitalism, it would destroy it. And on a personal level, I welcome its destruction. I'd add, I'm a bit puzzled at ahouyearno's choice of words in this question, specifically referring to redistribution of wealth from the poor to the rich. Redistribution implies a prior state of even distribution, which America has never had. Hoarding would be a better word here. Additionally, the equating of communism with fascism does reek of an appeal to moderation fallacy, given as there's no explanation given here as to why communism and fascism should be feared in equal measure. This notion that capitalism requires egalitarianism and equality of opportunity is to me evidently the opposite of true. Capitalism requires unfairness, and as such it unavoidably pushes for unfairness. There is this notion of social democracy, which from what I can gather is what American liberals generally seem to believe in, but that merely puts certain safeguards in place within a capitalist system which allow people to work around the unfairness rather than getting to the root of the matter and doing away with the unfairness. So I hope that's been of interest to some people. Let me know what you think. Goodbye.